good to go.
All right, Bronson, Adonis, how we doing, fellas?
Doing well.
Doing well? Dude, man, you guys have a beautiful venue here, man. I've been spending a lot of time in Miami. It's my first time really getting back and getting a chance to see this place. How long have y'all been in business here, and what's the name of this place?
So it's actually called FAO, kind of stands for For Amusement Only. We actually got the property in 2019 before COVID. Had a concept that unfortunately was shut down because of COVID. Went back to the drawing board, and then early in 2020, we actually opened up FAO. We curated this beautiful concept that's very welcoming, and enjoyable for anybody that's looking for a good time whenever they go out.
What made you want to push through that closing and know that I want to stay in this spot, I want to do this over again?
Man, I think that's just a lot of passion in this industry between the both of us.
And we also got lucky.
All right.
During that time they were throwing a lot of PPP loans out of there, and people were grabbing. It was just a grab and go. But yeah, we were fortunate based off basically our skin color. We got a minority PPP loan, which gave us an opportunity where it was 100% forgiven, and we went from there. It was just roll the dice again. But we had a lot of time to really sit down, think about what went well, what didn't work, what do we want to change. Because the first concept is as great as it wasn't us by any means. And we're like very outspoken personalities, and pigeonholed to be like in a nightclub, it just wasn't the fit. I like going to them, but I don't want to be in that mix. I'd rather be where it's like I can get everybody to come through and not have it to where, hey, I got to dress up, I got to look a certain way, or I'm not getting in. If I don't have girls, I'm not getting in. It's like, just come as you are, have a good time, and that's what this place is.
And ultimately, what you're touching on is kind of like the brand identity and making sure that as owners, like that brand identity aligns with who you all are, and then kind of building a vessel that serves the community in the way you guys want to serve it.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
But for the people who don't understand how the bar ownership side of things work, seeing as we're doing this to OTM where there's a lot of bartenders, what is that transition like, going from bartender to bar owner, and then even finding resources like that, like you did with the PPE loan?
Well, that starts with just actually being a part of the process. Of course, we worked all the positions from barback, door guy, bartender, eventually manager, GM, expanding our networks. I mean, me and Bronson met in 2011, but we both started in the industry in 2008. So at this point, we've got 15 plus years between each of us,
Okay.
So that process of just enjoying taking care of people, seeing that it could be very lucrative, and the fact that we tried the 9-to-5 thing, just didn't work for us. But there was always something new. But you got to credit a lot of the learning experiences that we did between learning each position, ultimately to say, hey, I can actually run a venue and understand what's it actually going to take, versus just looking at the dollar sign and understanding, no, I'm actually in this for the passion of it, to take care of people, and ultimately the money will come. It's a very lucrative, sexy business. So a lot of people want to jump into it, but not understanding, you got to stick to the basics and understand all the little bitty things add up to ultimately having a beautiful space like this. If we neglect the small things, then I promise you it will eventually show in due time. So.
I see, as we were getting ready for this interview, you guys are like getting the ice, getting the trash bags in the trash can, turning on the TVs. You guys still doing the on-the-ground soldier work. How important is that in keeping the pulse on the business? I
mean, we take pride in the way this place looks, and that's ultimately what's going to keep people coming. And ultimately, right now, we're confident we know we can do it. So not that we want to just rely on ourselves, but it's also setting an example for people that do eventually manage under us and understand that, hey, just because we've made it to this point doesn't mean that we're not willing to do the grunt work, clean the toilets, everything to keep this place going. Because through that COVID situation, obviously, yes, we had the blessings of the PPP money, but you also need staff. And that's where people got comfortable in that time period, where it's definitely a shift to where we're hungry. Like, we also had investors to pay back. We had to make sure that we owed those people. So the only way we knew we were going to be able to pay those people back is by doing all the work that got here, which a lot of people overlook those things whenever you do skip all the positions, where we have a pride in taking care of them. I mean, this is our venue, these are our floors. We want to make sure that those things get taken care of, and doing those small things is what's going to make sure that it has the longevity in this thing. This is not a phase.
I absolutely agree. I mean, I know as a bartender, anytime I have a new bar back, they start getting comfortable with it. They're like, you need me. It's like, then you just start working in front of them. Like, look at you. I do your job better than you.
Right.
And I think that's something that it always gets morale high when they know that, like, I've been through the trenches, but, you know what I'm saying, obviously you're trying to teach me so I can be to where you are. But I want to move on because I had a chance to meet you, which is ultimately why I'm here. It's because you ended up officiating 3 of the 5 weeks of SpeedRailz. Real quick, what are your thoughts on SpeedRailz?
I like the overall concept of it. I like to see that people get out of their shell, their comfort, and get in front of the camera, get to do things that they're not, used to doing, but they never maybe not got the opportunity.
Right.
I liked it from my perspective is I got to touch base on everything, from the club to the restaurant, the fine dining, you name it, serving, all of that. So when I see that competition really does let you know like what type of bartender you really are, or what you can be. There are a lot of things that I noticed from people. One, they didn't study, but two, they just were unfamiliar with the tools,
Right.
The stuff that you need. I mean, stuff that's neglected. Like, don't get me wrong, when you're in the sports bars, they don't have all that stuff. They just don't. But when I was bartending, that was non-existent. I didn't know it. I didn't know until I eventually got into the fine dining. I was like, what is this? What is that? And like, start teaching.
Like
I was
a
like,
surgeon.
oh shit! It like opened up a whole other chapter, because bartending is more than just like pouring 2 liquids in a cup and serving it. It's an art form. It's an interaction. It's something that when you go out, that's what you look for. You want to talk to someone. I'm not going to a bar to just sit in the corner and just look around. Don't get me wrong, there are people that do that, but most of the time it's like, give me the experience so I can come back again and again and again and again. So that's what I liked about that, is it got a lot of people that would maybe never see each other, or they got to meet, and then just goes from there. It's a snowball effect.
So we all know as bartenders, we're all mercenaries. We'll all go bartend wherever if they're paying us the most amount of money. So that's how you probably ended up in fine dining, or how somebody ends up in a sports bar. With us attaching the cash prize to SpeedRailz, that was ultimately the goal. Was like, okay, everybody will come here if we can at least pay them what they would make in a ship, type of idea. So with that in mind, I know you were watching it with your bar manager, your bartender perspective lens point. What were some of your, I guess, maybe criticisms or that you could do that you would have did differently with the competition?
I mean, at the end of the day, I looked at it at face value. I didn't know like the brains of it. I didn't know what was going down, what was the whole build-up process of it. When it comes to like ideas like that, you just tweak little things here and there. And as you progressively, move through the process of it, you don't, where you start is not where you're gonna finish, So I wouldn't really like change too much. I mean, obviously I like things that are uniform for, just competition wise.
I already know where you're going with this.
No, okay, I'll just say it. No offense on a bucket. I don't want to throw into a bucket. It's weird. Not everybody does that. It's a weird motion to do this, versus like a sink, because the sink, or, if you have a rail or whatever, it's different. I mean, those are like small tweaks, but that's all just.
I thought you were about to say you got to make the ticket in order. I thought that's
no, definitely
okay,
not.
Okay, I thought where you was going.
Ticket in order, everyone has their way. I'm looking at, like, if I'm going to judge, yes, it makes it easier, because then I can really like look, okay, what are you pulling up? But not everybody's trained to just do the quick eye, because like I said, if you've never done the bartending aspect of it, it makes it very difficult to judge.
Very true. Very true.
You don't know what you're looking for. You don't know what's a flaw. Hey, they didn't do that. And if you don't read over the rules and you don't read over the recipes, then you can't really properly grade it. I was reading that like I was ready to go into it. So. And
that was one of the things you said to me, I think maybe towards the end of the competition, is like, FAO, we'd be better for this competition as far as like from a bar design standpoint, and even just people in the city who know you all. It's like, man, that bar was built by bartenders. Like 2 entrances and exits into the bar. Every well has its own spider. Every well has its own dump sink.
If you saw the grid that we did, I mean, it was measured out, like where everything kind of just fits in. Like, it's like Tetris. It's perfect.
You even guys have a good backup storage for backup liquor bottles, so that way somebody's not running back to the back every time you empty out a Tito's, which I think is very critical.
Everything has a purpose back there. Like, so. If you can really break the whole entire square down, you're like, damn, dude, they really do have everything kind of figured out where I can minimize my movements and I can still move.
Just be efficient with your time back there.
It's important, and it's nice when people see that you're not scrambling.
Because it's a big bar too, so
it is a big
lot
bar.
of ground to cover. So
You can do some backflips back there.
How do you guys? It's a beautiful bar. How do you start finding the balance between functional and aesthetic? 'Cause I feel like that's a lot of times when people open up these nice bars, like it gotta look good so that way we can get customers in here. But it's like, no, if it's not functional, then we are not optimized for productivity.
Our first concept, the number one thing we were told, it's too nice. That's when I was like, I don't even know what y'all want anymore. So then that's when you go back to the drawing board and you look at it. I was like, okay, well, if it's too nice, then let me just kind of grunge it down. It could be society. Maybe they don't want like the fancy, because it's like if something's too nice, you kind of like tiptoe around. You're like, I don't want
Like
to
you guys are trying to deceive me too.
you know. But when it's got a little grunge, a little bit to it, like, you know, like old school type vibe, it's like, all right, it's more comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, because not everybody's house is immaculate, like
Yeah.
like a Louis Vuitton store. When you walk in there, you're like, oh shit, man, I don't even want to pick anything
this
up.
place is very welcoming, and that's one thing that early on we got was people saying, and it just feels comfortable whenever I walk in, as soon as they walk in. And that was the biggest part about it. Of course, the concept of the games was something that's welcoming. We've taken games out, adjusted the floor plan, and a lot of times, I mean, the big part of the aesthetics are the functionality of the bar,
Right.
you know, because the way things are positioned, how you get around the place, where it's comfortable for people to sit, with the also traffic going through the whole place, to where that self-consciously, also if you haven't been in the industry and understanding, like anybody can build a beautiful bar as a contractor, but if you haven't actually been in a bar to where you see where bottlenecks happen, certain things of the functionality of the bar, you know, that definitely plays a part in the aesthetics of how this place looks. So there's a lot of things that we used over from the last place that were nice, that just kind of complement and bring in both interactions of something that's loungy, but also comfortable,
Right.
to where it also is, we have a very much of a, you know, a blessing being up here on the third floor. We have a beautiful view of downtown, so we try and make sure that people that come out that want to, it's a very date heavy spot, to where you get that interaction of, to where it's very laid back, but it's also got a little bit of a niceness to it, to where it really shows whenever people come here to hang out. Because we get a lot of people worried about the dress code, but it's like, no, just come comfortable.
Yeah,
Make
so-
sure that you come out, you know, more of a casual look. You know,
And as you said earlier, you guys don't have
Smart
that
casual.
you guys don't have that nightclub feel to it, but you got like at least the luxury couches and things of that nature. And I know you guys were telling us in our first meeting, it's like, yeah, we really don't do bottle service here, man. That's not really our thing. We'll just set it down on the table. You can just help yourself with some plastic cups. I'm like, that feels like a house party.
Yeah.
I like that type of energy.
I mean, that bottle service, you know, it just intimidates some people, to where they feel like they have to get something just to be a part of the party. Where here, man, everybody's just hanging out, you know, all walks of life are interacting here. So that was the biggest thing, is we wanted a place that every walk of life could really feel comfortable coming here, associating with people, because you can come alone, come with people. Sometimes you're going to interact with somebody, because all the games are competitive based, so everybody's got a little bit of competition in them.
True.
To where this is very relatable, and I think that that's where we've been able to succeed, is making this relatable concept to where people just keep coming back looking for more.
So how are we going to turn that concept and SpeedRailz together and have a baby?
Well, I mean, I think a big part of us is that we are pretty laid back. That's why some people, you know, we're innovative, but we also want to make sure that we see we're open to suggestions and making sure that we work, because we don't know it all. The industry is always changing. Of course, we can implement things, you know, whenever they make sense. That's all we got to make sure that it's just got to make sense for us. So I think we can definitely make those things happen. We're going to have a fun time with it. I think that everybody enjoy the space that we have, all the extra things that go around the competition.
Right.
I think that those things have just added more value to what we're doing here, to where people have a little extra to kind of keep them engaged. Especially with the social media and all these things, people are quick, you know. There's the attention span is very short, so we got to keep their attention span on some things going on here.
I know with we were talking about doing the tailgating party. What does that look like here? How are we providing value to the people to keep them here, have them come here earlier, staying longer? What are we thinking?
We're definitely, obviously, we got a good happy hour that goes on here. Get to try out our cocktails, but we're also going to throw in, you know, we don't normally do this, but we'll have in the free games to make sure we bring in people, to make sure that you can enjoy all the games that we have. Just kind of make sure you can just focus to come in and socialize with us. We plan on getting a little bit of catering from a good friend of ours that's over at Bolo's.
Okay.
So that'll
Food's
definitely,
always a bonus.
Yeah.
that'll definitely help out. They're great. And just ultimately just kind of bring in some extra vendors, hopefully, that want to participate, very Houston-based, to kind of add some value to it. Just so people are just, like I said, interacting a little bit more. And just, of course, we're just going to add whatever we can on the spot, just go with the flow with it. So.
I mean, that's kind of how I see SpeedRailz and the venue working collectively together, almost like the Toyota Center and the Rockets. It's like they have their games one off, but it's like there's so many different micro economies that it's helping to support every time there's a game going on. Different small businesses, different vendors within the arena, and ultimately that's what we can be doing with SpeedRailz. So super excited for that. But going forward in the future, what are some of the big plans you guys got for FAO and for yourselves? Grind.
It's always a part
Bartenders, I guess, just grind.
I mean, of course, there's always a big vision that you have, but I think with time, there's always adjustments that have to be made. Of course, the market has changed quite a bit. It's definitely here in Houston, as we've kind of mentioned before. It's a very sexy industry. So you got a lot of people that are joining it that maybe just because you can doesn't mean you should a lot of times, and some people don't see that. So it definitely brings a halt to certain things because with that saturated market, so we have to make some adjustments, but ultimately, our biggest thing is trying to do something that me and this man can be in the top 50 bars in the world.
That's what's up.
Very cocktail driven. Of course, FAO may not look like it from the outside of it, but we have a good cocktail program. It's about efficiency. A lot of people aren't about the batch cocktails, but we do that. It's all about fresh ingredients. We want to make sure that people understand you can go to venues and have a good time without just getting completely trashed.
Yeah.
So, of course, eventually we'd like to take FAO to other cities.
Yeah.
But, of course, with that, like I said, the market's definitely shifted. But I think our next step is trying to find something me and this guy can really dive in the show. Because we love bartending. As much as we like the owning, that was the ultimate goal. This is our baby. We'll always have a tie to this. But we also like showcasing what we can do behind the bar and taking care of people. And that's really our pride and joy. So we want to kind of get back to that a little bit.
At the end of the day, I feel like Bronson hustled me. Now he's going to get paid and get to watch SpeedRailz at the same time. I love it. I love it, man. Well, I appreciate you fellas.
Hey,
looking forward to a partnership. We're about to kill it. Season 2.
We're excited for it.
FAO is going down. Get your tickets. Pull up. We'll see you guys.
Follow us on FAO, HTX.
Heard.